So recently I've been talking about Eros and devotion, and I wanted to ground it into reality a little bit so it makes more sense. So I've mentioned on here before and on my podcast that Eros is the return current of source. But in other words, Eros is form shaping intelligence. It is the impulse that brings life into relationship with matter. So, on my podcast and on different videos, I talked about the divine feminine and divine masculine energy and how all of creation is those two poles spinning in balanced and in harmony. So, remembering that will really put this next part into perspective. But Eros is the force that wants intimacy between things, wants harmony between the body and the environment, and wants matter to feel alive, responsive, and relational. So Eros doesn't just live in people, it lives in space, form, texture, proportion, and movement. And when Eros is present, something might feel inviting or warm or alive or resonant. And when something is absent of Eros, it might feel sterile or dead or purely functional. This is why bad architecture can feel oppressive, while beautiful, resonant spaces might feel holy. And I've talked before about how I personally love fashion, architecture, art, and interior design. And there's a huge connection between architecture and spatial design and Eros, and fashion and Eros. Architecture is Eros at the scale of environment, and fashion is Eros at scale of the body. Architecture asks, how does the body want to move here? How does the light want to move here? How does sound want to carry? How does the human nervous system want to feel held? Eros in architecture is attunement to the human experience. So then Eros in fashion asks, how does the fabric want to move on the body? How does the body want to be touched? Where does structure want to support? And where does softness want to yield? Eros in fashion is about intimacy between the fabric and the body. So architecture and fashion are just two examples, but really you can relate this to so many different mediums of creation and self-expression. Eros is life in relationship with form.